Alright, here we go. So first thing I'm going to do is open a browser. And today we're talking about your online book and how it works and how you get to it and some things that you can find in it. Alright, so the online book is at my.hrw.com. And so you can go right here to the Holt McDougall Online. And in class, I will have given you your username and password. Okay, so we're going to type in our username, which is generally the first initial of your first name, your entire last name, and then 1 or 2 numbers. And then I will have given you a password that you will then have to reset. And you can type in your own password. So once you get successfully logged in, you will be at the online textbook. Okay? So we're going to head right there, go to the online textbook. And up at the top you'll see select a chapter. So we'll just start right here at chapter 1. And the first lesson is lesson 1.1, expressions and variables. So there's just a drop down for each of those. Chapter 1, first lesson, and then you want to hit the go button. And that will take you to the book pages. Okay, and you might have to do some scrolling to get the entire page. Okay, you are responsible for the vocabulary in each lesson. There are some examples in your book on each page. And then you can also continue on to the exercises. And we'll sometimes start with a guided practice, and we'll sometimes start with a practice in problem solving. Okay? And so you have access to all of the problems in your book, in your online book. If you go to the second tab here, additional practice, there we go. Each lesson has additional practice worksheets that you can download and print at home for extra practice. More examples I haven't found incredibly helpful, but there are 3 worksheets that you can use for extra practice if you need to. Sometimes if you do poorly on an assignment, I might assign one of those 3 worksheets for you to do to replace your scores. So if you get a little note on your paper that says, do practice B to replace this lesson, then you would come here, make sure you're on the right lesson for the one you're replacing, choose practice B, and then you can print it out, do the math, and bring it back to school to replace that bad grade. So there's 3 worksheets. Practice A is the easiest. B is what we'll use most of the time. All of those questions you're expected to be able to handle. And practice C, it kind of depends on the lesson. Sometimes it's a little difficult for what we've been doing, and sometimes in this advanced class I will expect you to be able to handle practice C as well. There is a note-taking guide. This you might want to use if I ask you to go through the reading in class. Okay? We might also use the note-taking guide when we do examples in class, but not very often. Review for Mastery is great when you study for a test or a quiz. It's got the vocabulary reminders. It has an example and then a few practice problems, another example of a different type, more practice problems, another example with some explanation, and more practice problems. So that's a good way to prepare for your quizzes and tests. There's also a Spanish review for mastery if that would help you. Then if you choose the Video and Activities tab right here at the top, the third one in, there's all kinds of video and activities for the chapters. So this is all of Chapter 1. So you'll notice not every lesson has a video tutor, but most of them do. So the video tutor is a teacher giving you a lesson. So
Marta and her 3 friends want to go to the movie. They need to figure out exactly how much money they're going to...
Okay. So you can listen to that and walk along with her if you've been absent. That's a good thing. If you need some extra examples, you can look there. There's also a home tutor, which is just video. There isn't any audio with this, but there's a learn the lesson.
Evaluate the expression when x equals 2
audio.
and y equals 5. Y.
And then that goes through the lesson, some sample problems and some practice problems, and lets you try it. E-workbook has some extra practice problems that you can work through. PowerPoint presentations for some of the lessons, illustrating some extra information. Animated math is kind of fun. It's a little practice for some of the harder lessons. Drag and drop the activity labels into the correct boxes. So get dressed, movie ends, drive to the theater, buy popcorn, back in your seat. Okay. And so it allows you to kind of go through and comparing and ordering integers. So that animated math is an option. The TI Inspire, I think, is just a calculator. I don't know how we get out of that. There we go. And then these tools are always available to you in every lesson. And so there's a graphing calculator, a scientific calculator. So if you need to grab a calculator quick, you don't have yours handy, it's right there. Algebra tiles for when we do lessons that involve algebra tiles, and we'll talk about those when we get to a lesson that you might find those helpful. Electronic function library. Oh, guess we're not seeing that one. And a multilingual glossary. So I think it's just Spanish, but I can't seem to get it to come up on my computer. So that, in a nutshell, is your online book and what you have access to, and I hope it helps.